Good morning everybody. Today we will have a revision in Latin. Of course Latin is a huge problem for a lot of students. I'm going to be speaking a little bit in English, a little bit in Arabic, so that the English the students that their native language is English could understand, as well as the حبايبنا المصريين يعني زي حبايبنا المصريين يفهم. المهم let's start. First of all, let's start with the table of endings. Table of endings is one of the greatest weapons. I'm sorry for this small breakout, but let's continue. The table of endings you will find in a link in the description. Down in the description you will find a link that will lead to the table of endings and also will lead to the dictionary entries, a PDF file with the dictionary entries. Okay, this PDF file I have collected from our textbook and from other sources. يعني يا جماعة هتلاقوا في الديسكريبشن تحت لينك هيوديكوا على الموقع ده تقدر تنزل منه حاجتين: جدول النهايات والديكشنري انتريز، ودول الصلاحين اللي انت بتستخدمهم في الترجمة. ونرجع نكمل تاني. Okay, then you have to understand that the declensions is a group of words that have the same endings. They are common. They share common endings. Also they may share the same gender. For example, the first declension is for feminine words, for feminine words. Why I'm saying words, not saying nouns? Because word can be maybe can be an adjective, maybe can be a verb, maybe can be a noun, maybe can be a preposition. This is the word. So there will be, of course, different I'm going to say endings, for example, different ways of treating each type of word, but of course we will focus only on the noun and the adjective. So the words of the first declension has a feminine gender. The second declension may be masculine, maybe neuter. The third declension is the most complicated one, and also its adjectives is complicated. Also the muscle functions like abduction وadduction. Also these muscle functions belongs to the words of the third declension, and they have special rules by them. Also it's pretty big declension, it's most complicated. Then the fourth and fifth declension is the easiest two declensions. Of course you will be confused with one case only of the masculine case, because it looks similar to the masculine case of the second declension, but it will be easy, don't worry. So يا جماعة بالراحة كده، واحدة واحدة. انت المنهج عندك متقسم 5 declensions. ال5 declension عندك الديكلينشن الاولاني ده declension الكلمات اللي بتبقى فيه بتبقى كلمات مؤنثة. الديكلينشن التاني الكلمات فيه بتبقى كلمات يا اما مذكرة يا اما نوتر. الديكلينشن التالت ده اصعب وارخم ديكلينشن في المنهج، وده هيبقى واخد اغلبية الشرح، هيبقى واخد اغلبية الاسئلة، واخد اغلبية الحل. ده هتلاقي فيه الاسامي بتاعته رخمة، الصفات بتاعته رخمة، الوظائف بتاعت العضلات بتاعته رخمة. وبعد كده الديكلينشن الرابع والخامس دول من اسهل الديكلينشنز، ملهمش غير اسامي بس. they have nouns only, fourth and fifth declension. Okay, then you have to understand the cases. Okay, the cases um, like nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. All these cases we are not going to cover in anatomical terminology because they are not there are these two declensions, dative and accusative, are not that important. We are going to need only these three declensions: nominative, genitive, and ablative. You have to know these endings, or just or you don't really have to memorize them, or I think it's enough just to print maybe the table of endings, and you will be trained to find each ending in each case and so on. Maybe the case of nominative means like a subject, the word is a subject. The case of genitive, it means preposition. Each case has its different meaning. Genitive means genitive means like possession, like you have something, you possess something. It's possession, means possession, of course. And it always the words in genitive case are before them you will find the preposition of, which means like this word is possessed by another word. You will understand, but let's not rush anything. Then the case of ablative, you won't be using the case of ablative in translating question from Latin to English, but you will be using it to case change. Then of course the same cases but in plural form, so there is a singular form for each word and for each noun and each adjective, and there is a plural form for each noun and each adjective. And you will have to learn we will learn how to translate the long terms, the term that may have more than one noun, more than one adjective. And let's just not rush anything. So نتكلم بقى الحوار بالعربي يا جماعة بسرعة كده. أول اتنين declension احنا هنشرحهم، هنبتدي بيهم. لازم عشان تبقى فاهم النهاية ديت جاية منين، لازم تبقى عارف يا معلم حوار الكيسز او الحالات يعني الاوضاع المختلفة اللي الاسم او الصفة ممكن يبقوا موجودين فيها. يعني يا معلم حالة النومينيتيف دي مثلا ممكن حالة الفعل اللي هو بيبقى اول جملة، اللي هو مثلا فاهمني حالة دي المعنى بتاعها ان هو فاعل. جينيتيف الحالة معناها الملكية، يعني مثلا بتسبق بالحرف جر اوف. وهنشوف دلوقتي في الكيس تشينج وفي الترجمة هنتعامل مع الحالات دي ازاي. طبعا حالة الديتيف والاكيوزيتيف انت مش هتستعملهم خالص تقريبا، لا في التصريف، سؤال التصريف، سؤال الكيس تشينج، ولا سؤال الترجمة. انت هتحتاج تستخدم الابليتيف فقط في حالة التصريف، مش هتستخدمها في حالة الترجمة. تمام، فاحنا كده عدينا بشكل سريع على اهم ثلاث حالات، النومينيتيف والجينيتيف والابليتيف. وهنعرف دلوقتي ازاي الجملة بتبقى ماشية، ازاي هنعرف نترجم كلمات بتتكون من اكتر من مصطلح واحد، من اكتر من كلمة واحدة. هنعرف نترجم كلمات بيبقى فيها اكتر من اسم واكتر من صفة. تمام، نخش نبدأ دلوقتي على الفيرست والسكند ديكلينشن. قبل ما نبتدي لازم تبقى فاهم الفرق برضو من الاسم والصفة، لان هيبقى فيه زي ما تقول قواعد مختلفة في التعامل ما بين الاسم وما بين الصفة. Like there will be different ways to deal with each with the noun and with the adjective, so you have to understand the difference between the two. The noun it doesn't need any explanation, it's just like a name, maybe your name. Maybe my name is Muhammad, for example. Let's try to write it. Okay, so maybe here Muhammad. So you can try any adjective to describe Muhammad. Muhammad, maybe he is for example sick, he is ill. So here Muhammad is our noun and our adjective is sick. It describes the state of Muhammad. The same thing with the bone. Of course we will be translating anatomical terms, not our names. For example, bone, we can describe the bone of being long, so we may in the future try to translate the word long bone. Now let's start with the first question in our exam. This question is called case change. هنبدأ يا جماعة بأول سؤال هيقابلك في الامتحان، سؤال الكيس تشينج أو سؤال التصريف. هنبتدي الأول بالتصريف بتاع مصطلح واحد، هي كلمة من مصطلح واحد، يعني كلمة يعني اسم واحد. Let's start with the case change of maybe one noun. Let's start with, for example, musculus, as it belongs to the second declension. Of course, we will have another word from the first declension. For example, let's have vein, and we will have also ligamentum. It belongs to the second declension but not a gender. So we will try to case change all these words. نحاول نتصرف دلوقتي يا جماعة الكلمات دي على أساس الحالات. طبعا انت لو لغاية دلوقتي مش قادر تفهم معنى الحالات بالظبط وحاسس ان المعنى بتاعهم صعب ورخم عليك، انت مش هتحتاج تفهم المعنى بتاعهم اوي. Of course, if you don't understand the meaning of each case, it won't affect you in translating, it won't affect you in case changing. All you need is dictionary entries and you need the table which you will find in the description. هتلاقوا يا جماعة الجدول والجدول بتاع النهايات والكيس والديكشنري انتريز اللي الراجل بيسأل عليها، هتلاقوهم في اللينك تحت في الديسكريبشن بإذن الله. تمام، هنبتدي بأول كلمة احنا قلنا عليها. طيب عشان يعني ايه نتعود على الديكشنري انتريز واستخدام الملف ده. So guys, now I will try to train you a little bit in how to use the PDF file of dictionary entries. Of course, if you have a laptop or it will be easier. If you have a phone, I highly recommend you to download the app Microsoft Office from the Google Play Store. It will make it easier to find words and to search for them in this PDF for dictionary entries. تمام يا جماعة، انت دلوقتي قابلتك كلمة عضلات او مصل، عضلة كلمة مصل، وقال لك انا عايزك تترجمها او عايز الديكشنري انتري بتاعتها. تمام، الديكشنري انتري دي انت بتستخرجها. دلوقتي هحاول لحد ما ابسط ما هي الديكشنري انتري اصلا عشان تبقى فاهم احنا بنعمل ايه. تمام، now I'll try to find the dictionary entry of the word muscle. Find it here. تمام، زي ما قلت يا جماعة، انت علشان تسهل على نفسك ان انت تعمل فايند، لو انت شغال من على التليفون مش هتعطل عادي جدا، هتنزل مايكروسوفت اوفيس تطبيق بيسهل عليك ان انت تعمل فايند، تعمل سيرش على الكلمة جوه الملف الPDF ده. تمام، هتدور على كلمة مصل. حلو، انا طبعا كلمة مصل عندي مكتوبة اكتر من مرة، فانا ممكن افضل ادوس نيكست لحد ما الاقي الايه الديكشنري انتري بتاعتها. مصل، musculus, musculi, which belongs to the second declension and it's a masculine word. Now I'll try to break down the dictionary entry to you. Okay, now of course, concerning nouns, we are starting with nouns. بالنسبة للأسماء يا جماعة، للناونز مش الadjectives، عشان الadjectives زي ما قلنا ممكن يبقى فيه ليها تعامل مختلف. Concerning nouns, the dictionary entry starts like this. First of all, you have the root of the word. The root of the word is like muscle, and you will understand right now how to get to the root or the stem of the word. It can be called root, it can be called stem. You will understand what is the difference between the two, how to understand it, but you will get the hang of it. Just don't rush. تمام يا جماعة؟ إذا تفهم دلوقتي ازاي انت تطلع الروت تطلع الستيم واحدة واحدة، ما تستعجلش. حلو، دي كده الديكشنري روت، تمام، ومحطوط عليه نهاية معينة. طب انت بتبص على النهاية you look at the ending، هتلاقي ان النهاية نهاية أس. طب النهاية أس دي تبع second declension، تبع الماسكلين جندر في حالة النوميناتيف، في حالة الفاعل. تمام، فكده يا جماعة نستنتج ان دايما الكلمة اللي بتبقى مكتوبة على بعضها في الأول دي تبقى في حالة النوميناتيف. the word written the noun written as a whole musculus. There is no any gap between the root and the ending muscul, and then right in front of it is us. This word musculus is in the nominative singular case. It's nominative and singular. So let's start working on the table from top to bottom. So second declension, masculine gender, nominative singular case. Then we will find ourselves talking about this cell right here, this cell which has two endings, either us either er. So we have the ending us. So this is the way that we will try to attack our endings table. يعني يا جماعة الحوار بالعربي يعني يخلص. الاسم اللي بيبقى مكتوب في اول الديكشنري انتري على بعضه، اللي هي زي مثلا موسكولوس، مفيش اي فرق ما بين النهاية والروت. الاسم ده بيبقى دايما في حالة نومينيتيف سينجلر. طيب لو هنيجي نبص من على الجدول، دايما تبص من فوق وتنزل لتحت، تشتغل طريقك من التوب بتاع الجدول وتنزل. طب هتشتغل طريقنا من التوب من الجدول، بص على السكند ديكلينشن، هتبص على حالة المذكر، هتبص على الاسم المفرد، وهتبص على حالة النومينيتيف. شايف انا ماشي ازاي؟ انا ماشي من فوق لتحت. تمام، فحددت الخانة دي، ده طريقة الشغل بتاعتي، ان انا بمشي من فوق لتحت وانا نازل. حددت الخانة دي، لقيت ان النهاية بتاعتها اخرتها اوس او اخرتها ار. تمام، عشان كده انا عرفت ان الاسم ده تبع السكند ديكلينشن من النهاية بتاعته. ما تقلقش من كتر التكرار، في نهايات معينة، نهايات حالة النومينيتيف في الفيرست والسكند ديكلينشن هيتحفظوا، هيثبتوا في دماغك. تمام. Now the second letter, which will be like it's before it there will be a small dash, you know. This letter is not in the nominative singular case, it is the ending of the genitive case, and you have to understand something in the genitive case. Genitive singular case. Okay, this letter, which is surrounded by the blue like small box or something, this letter is the ending in the genitive case. If we look here, starting from the top, second declension, masculine, singular, then we look at the cell of the genitive, you will find the letter I, so it's true. Then you will find like letter here, either it will be an M or an N or an F. So what is the difference between these three letters? The first letter indicates which is M, indicates the masculine gender. الام يا جماعة بتدل على النوع المذكر، اسم الكلمة ديت مذكرة. The N indicates the neuter gender. The F indicates the feminine gender. ال N بتوحي أو بتدل على الاسم المحايد، والإف بتدل على الاسم المؤنث. تمام. وبعد كده هتلاقي الترجمة بتاعت الكلمة بالانجليزي. then you will find at the last the translation of the English the translation of the Latin term into English. So if we try to break down the dictionary entry, you will find the first word to be nominative singular, the letter after it is the ending of the genitive singular case, then you will find a letter which will indicate the gender of this word, and also at the end you'll find the translation. That's it. So this is the breakdown of the dictionary entry. ده كده يا جماعة تقسيمة dictionary entry، تبقى فاهم dictionary entry ده كل نهاية فيه معناها ايه وكده. طيب احنا يا جماعة دلوقتي علشان نبدأ شغل لازم نجيب الروت او الستام بتاع كلمة musculus. So guys, to start working you will have to find the stem or the root of the word musculus. How to find the root in case of the noun. يا جماعة دلوقتي خلي بالكوا احنا هنجيب الروت بتاع noun بتاع اسم. ركزوا ابص ايكول ان هيبقى في اختلاف هنا ما بين الاسم وبين الادجكتيف. احنا ما باخدش adjective، احنا بناخد اسم دلوقتي، فركزوا. فالنون يا جماعة to get the root of a noun to get the root to get the root of a noun use the genitive singular word عشان يا جماعة نجيب genitive singular case. ليه case؟ عشان يا جماعة نجيب الروت بتاع الاسم بتاعنا لازم نستخدم حالة الجينيتيف سينجولار. لازم نجيب الاسم في حالة الجينيتيف سينجولار. طب الاسم في حالة الجينيتيف سينجولار هيبقى مسكولي. طيب هنعمل ايه بعد كده؟ هنقوم نشطب على النهاية حالة الجينيتيف كده يتبقى معانا الاسم. we will cross on the ending of the genitive case and we will end with the stem, of course. Then let's try to case change here in this table. You have to understand, guys, that you know you have to draw some kind of table. This table is dimension is 3 rows by 2 columns. يا جماعة الجدول ده هيبقى 3 في 2. ده this is called the case change table. You can't answer a case change question without writing the case change table. مش هتعرف تجاوب سؤال التصريف من غير ما تعمل الجدول المحترم ده. جدول 3 في 2. It's 3 by 2. Its dimensions is 3 rows and 2 columns. Let's start with nominative case, genitive case, ablative case. Here is singular form and plural form, of course. Now we are trying to case change، او احنا بنحاول نصرف كلمة موسكولوس اللي تبع second declension. طيب هنبص على انهي عمود. we will look at this case this endings table at the second declension column at the masculine gender. So we will be looking at this column through the whole way, starting our way from the top to the bottom. We will start our way from the top to the bottom. So this column, as you can understand, we will start from the top to the bottom. هنبدأ من فوق لتحت يا جماعة. تمام. احنا عندنا الستم اللي هو كلمة موسكول. we start with writing the stem which is موسكول. we write it in all the cells. موسكول. also here موسكول and also here موسكول. Now we will add the endings. Start our way from top of the endings table to the bottom. So the second declension, masculine, we said we will be working with this column. In the nominative singular case, this is singular nominative case, it ends with us, and we already know that from our dictionary entry. It ends with us. Guys, of course, here will be a question raised. How I know if I have to add to the root the ending er, not the ending us, in case of the second declension. The question is about this cell, of course. Question about this cell. If you have the dictionary entry musculus, you already know the nominative singular case ends with us, so there will be no place for question here. You already know the nominative singular case from the dictionary entry. You will need the stem and to add the endings to the stem in other cases. And let's continue. يعني يا جماعة انتوا لازم تبقوا عارفين الستم عشان هتضيفوا نهايات في حالات تانية. حالة النومينيتيف والجينيتيف سينجولار انتوا اوريدي بتبقى عارفينها. حالات عارفين النهاية بتاعت الكلمة بيبقى شكلها عامل ازاي، عارفين الكلمة بيبقى شكلها عامل ازاي. لكن بقية الحالات التانية، حالات البلورال وحالات الابلاتيف السينجولار، هما دول اللي انتوا عشان كده لازم تجيبوا الستم. Okay, then let's continue from top to bottom. Masculine singular ablative, so it ends with an O. Musculu, this is the ending. Musculu, it's easy. Plural, nominative plural is musculi. Of course now there will be a question popping in your head. دلوقتي هيبقى في سؤال ناطط في دماغ بعض الناس. انا عارف السؤال وهجاوب عليه. ثانية واحدة. Genitive, we will start from top to bottom, من فوق لتحت. plural وجينيتيف تبقى أوروم، نهاية أوروم، مسكول أوروم. then ablative, second declension, masculine plural ablative is, so it's musculis. Now I have successfully case changed the word musculus, I'm sorry, and this is a right case change, and this is what the doctor wants from us. This is the way that he wants you to case change. Now let's return back to the question that now a lot of people or some people have in their mind. What is the difference between the genitive singular case and the nominative plural case? Now, as you see, if I write the word musculi without putting it in any sentence, and I asked you what is the case of this word, you won't be able to answer. Actually, nobody will be able to answer this question. You can identify whether it's genitive singular or a nominative plural only by one way, which is to understand the meaning of the sentence that it is put in. So there you will have to start looking at terms, translating terms, to understand whether it's a genitive singular, whether it's a nominative plural. You will be able to differentiate right now the difference between the two if you've seen the... Sorry guys, we will have a stop. Now let's continue. I said we are going to case change musculus. I'm sorry, the word muscle, vein and ligament, and for the sake of time of the video I have already got the stem of the vein and the ligament. It's the same way. You try to get the word in the form of genitive singular, and then just cross over the genitive ending and then continue with the stem. Now like what we did with musculus, we will start from the top of the ending table and then to the bottom. يعني يا جماعة من الآخر كده علشان هنكمل دلوقتي التصريف بتاع كلمة فينا وكلمة ليجامنتو. هنكمل التصريفات بتاعتهم. ليه فينا كلمة مؤنثة تبع الفيرست ديكلينشن، وكلمة ليجامنتوم كلمة تبع السكند ديكلينشن بس نوتر أو محايدة. زي ما انتوا شايفين كده حرف الاف هنا معناها مؤنث، وده معناها ان هي تبع الفيرست ديكلينشن. مش عشان هي مؤنثة هي تبع الفيرست ديكلينشن، هي عشان نهايتها في حالة الجينيتيف AE. اما الليجامنتوم فمكتوب جنبها حرف الان، وده معناه ايه يا معلم؟ معناه ان هي محايدة وان هي وان هي تبع السكند ديكلينشن، ده علشان النهاية الجينيتيف بتاعتها حرف الاي. تمام، نكمل. موسكولوس فين في حالة النوماتيف تبقى فينا، خلي لون اسود فينا. حالة الجينيتيف فيني. في حالة الابليتيف تعالى نبص على الجدول. now in case of ablative you look on the table. هتبقى start from the top to the bottom. first declension feminine singular. So we will look at this column of feminine. Then we will get into the cell of ablative. Yes, it's the ending is a vena. And then plural, of course in the same column. Start from the top. First declension feminine but plural this time. Nominative venae. And then genitive venarum. Vinarum. Okay, then ablative is Venus. Okay, start from top to bottom, and then add each ending to our stem. It's that easy. The same way with ligament. And for time I'm going to type it really quickly because we don't want it to be a long video. You understand the concept, and the concept is applied to all first and second declension nouns, actually to also the fourth and fifth declension nouns. And the third declension noun you have to do an extra step, but we will cover the third declension right now. Okay, ligament. Oh, sorry, ligamentous. No. Ligamento. It's a mistake. Plural. Ligamenta. Ligamentum. Ligamentus. Now this is the nouns of the first and second declension. It's easy, no problem at all with it. Okay, let's start with adjectives. Now for the adjectives we will have to maybe in the same in file. Okay, let's continue. يلا يا جماعة نشد خط ونبدأ على نضاف. To understand the adjectives of the third declension, of the second declension, first and second declension, these adjectives are called first type adjectives. they are of the first and second declension and second, and you will understand why they are for the first and the second both declensions in the same time with all their three genders right now. تفهموا دلوقتي يا جماعة ليه هما الادجكتيف دولت كلهم تحت نوع واحد، بيندرجوا تحت نوع واحد، وبيستخدمهم في ان احنا نوصف 2 declension مختلفين، مجموعتين اسماء مختلفين، مجموعتين nouns مختلفين، وكمان 3 genders مختلفين. لما هنطلع dictionary entry بتاعتهم ونقعد نشرحها لكم. تمام. Okay, let's continue. Maybe put the adjective long, because it's a first and second declension adjective. It's really easy. Now the breakdown of the dictionary entry. What does the dictionary entry actually means? So let's start here. Control V. Longus, longa, longum. Okay, now maybe let's start with the stem. This is the stem of the adjective, and you will understand how we get the stem of the adjective. Of course, to get the stem of the adjective is different from the stem of the noun. There is different rule here. You will understand it right now. Just a second. Okay, now the ending us, as you understand or you can relate to, is the ending in the nominative case of the masculine words of the second declension. The ending belongs to the neuter gender nominative case of the second declension, and the first declension, of course, the nominative ending a is in the nominative case of the first declension of the feminine gender words. So let's try to make it simple. Us describes us ending is for masculine words, so it's masculine. Let's make it short. Nominative singular ending. So the green square which covers the ending us, this ending just means that this adjective describes a noun. This noun is masculine and it's a nominative singular noun. Okay, then the ending a, which is covered in a blue box, is for feminine nouns. It's for also nominative singular case. The ending which is in a violet box, indicates a neuter noun, indicates that the adjective is describing a neuter noun in the case of nominative singular. So simply these endings or the endings of any dictionary entry concerning first and second declension adjectives, the endings are of gender. These endings are here to like differentiate between each gender. يعني يا جماعة النهايات دي نهايات نوع، نهايات بتاعة النوع، هل الكلمة اللي احنا بنوصفها دي مذكرة ولا مؤنثة ولا محايدة، مش زي نهايات الاسم. like the endings of the noun. Endings of the noun is by case. By case here musculus, us indicates nominative case and e indicates genitive case. So the difference between the dictionary entry of the noun and the adjective is that the endings of the noun and of the dictionary entry indicates the case. The nominative and genitive does not indicate the gender. The gender is indicated by a separate letter right here. But for the adjectives, the endings is for the gender. The endings is for the gender. Okay, now before we continue, we will have to understand how the word, how the Latin sentence is constructed. ازاي بنبني جملة اللاتيني. جملة اللاتيني دايما الأول بتاعها بيبقى اسم. The first word in the Latin sentence is a noun. Okay. There may be multiple nouns. No problem with that at all. Multiple nouns. Okay. But the first word always must be a noun. Okay. Then the noun may be described by an adjective. Described by an adjective. Adjective. Also the second noun may be described by an adjective. The third noun may be described by an adjective, and so on. Okay. Now, you have to understand that the adjective follows the noun in case and gender and number. This is general rule. I think it has no exceptions for this rule. It's the general rule for the adjective case change in the Latin sentence, that the adjective follows the noun in case, gender and number. يعني ان الادجكتيف بيتبع تابع، هو ملوش رأي في الجملة. The adjective here has no opinion in the sentence. The adjective just follows the noun that it is describing. For example, the noun, the case of the noun may be nominative or genitive. Concerning the case, maybe a nominative case or a genitive case. So you understand that the noun could be in nominative or in genitive. Okay. So either the noun is nominative or genitive, the adjective will follow the noun. It will be if the noun is nominative, the adjective will follow it. It has no opinion. It will follow it and will be nominative as well. If the noun is genitive, the adjective will say yes, I'm going to be an adjective. Then the adjectives also follow the noun in gender. So maybe masculine, neuter, and feminine genders. If the word is masculine, the adjective must be also masculine. If the word is neuter, the adjective must be neuter. If the adjective is feminine, the word must be feminine. If the noun is feminine, the adjective must be feminine. So also the adjective follows the noun. It has no opinion. It has to follow the noun in gender, of course, and then in number, plural. And singular. If the word is singular, then the adjective describing it will be singular. If the word is plural, the adjective describing it will be plural. يعني الصفة هنا بتتبع الاسم. بتتبعه في ايه؟ بتتبعه في الحالة. لو هو الاسم نومينيتيف تبقى نومينيتيف زيه. لو بتتبعه كمان في الجندر، لو الجندر مثلا نوتر، بتتبعه في بتتبعه تبقى زيه بالظبط نوتر. لو الاسم جمع بتتبعه تبقى جمع. الادجكتيف تابع. الادجكتيف هنا يبقى تابع. طيب القانون عندنا في تنظيم الجملة بتاعة اللاتين أو the rule to organize the Latin language that the first starts with a noun. It must start with a noun. that can start with an adjective, and also the noun must come before any adjective. For example, in this case, that you have a sentence with 3 nouns and an adjective describing each noun. Then in the middle of the sentence you have to write the noun, the second noun, firstly before the adjective. So the noun comes before the adjective and the adjective follows it. Also, here you have to understand that the first noun in the sentence, the first noun, not first word, there is difference between noun and word, first noun in the sentence and the adjective describing it must be in nominative case, must be in nominative, not in genitive. And all the other nouns and the adjectives describing them must be in genitive case, must be in genitive case. Here I'm putting bracket between I'm putting a noun and the adjective describing it in the same bracket, so you can understand that the adjective follows the noun that it describes it in this 3 maybe dimensions: the case, the gender, the number. Okay, let's take an example so you can fully understand what I'm talking about. The long ligament. So you are in the exam. The question is to translate from English to Latin. Translate from English to Latin. بتاعت الامتحان يا عم الحاج، السؤال بيقول لك ترجمة من الانجليزي اللاتيني. طب انت هتعمل ايه يا معلم؟ اول حاجة هتعملها first thing you have to do is to get the dictionary entries. You can't translate any sentence without the dictionary entries. It's impossible. That's why always the doctor is saying that you are translating it from Google. How he knows? Because you have no dictionary entry. Then you head to our dictionary entry PDF file that I have collected from our textbooks and maybe other sources. Then ligament. Okay, now ligament here as you can see is not a word, is محايدة من كلمة محايدة يا جماعة. احنا هنترجمها دلوقتي ثانية. كنترول كده. تاني ايه تاني. So now we have the 2 dictionary entries, the long and the ligament. As we said that the noun must come the first in the sentence, and also it must be written before the adjective describing it. يعني الاسم لازم يجي في أول جملة لازم تبقى اسم، تبقى noun مش تبقى adjective. وكمان حتى لو الاسم والadjective بتاعه موجودين في نص الجملة لازم الاسم يجي قبل الadjective اللي هو بيوصفه. تمام. Let's start with ligament. The rule says that the first noun must be written in what? In nominative case. And of course the English sentence saying that it's only one ligament, so it's the genitive, the nominative singular case. Nominative singular. Ligamentum. This is the nominative singular case. How I know this is the nominative singular case? From the dictionary entry, as we discussed before, that the dictionary entry of the nouns is described by can you say, yes, it's divided by cases. So the first word, the whole word with its ending describes the nominative singular case. so it's the same thing in here. Ligamentum is the nominative singular case, and here in the letter that it's written with a dash before it, just next to the noun, is the genitive singular ending, and this letter indicates the gender. So ligament what? Now we write the adjective ligament. Here the adjective must follow the noun in the case and gender and number. It's singular, so we don't have to worry about plural endings. We don't have to worry about it. It's in the nominative case, so we don't have to worry about the genitive endings. It's here is all in the nominative. All these endings are in the nominative case, and it's noter, so we will have to worry about the noter ending. So longum, ligamentum, longum. Okay. Remember when I told you that you will have to understand how we get the stem of the adjective? Now is the time to understand how we get the stem of the adjective. The rule in getting the stem of the adjective is, one second, to get the stem of the adjective, to get the stem of the adjective, use the nominative feminine singular form of the adjective. Okay. Nominative feminine singular. Where is the nominative feminine singular form of this adjective? It's longa. As you can see, the ending in the red and the blue box indicates the feminine ending, as we discussed in the top. Here the blue is for the feminine, longa. And of course you have to understand that a is the feminine from the ending tables. As you can see here, in feminine gender, the ending in the nominative singular form is a. Then we return back and write here longa. Maybe writing it in blue will help. Longa. Then we will have to cross over the ending. يعني يا جماعة علشان تجيب الستم أو الروت بتاع كلمة بتاع الادجكتيف long، لازم تحطها في حالة النومينيت singular feminine وتشطب على النهاية الفيمينين. كده انت اللي بقى معاك ده هو الستم اللي هو اللونج، وبعد كده تقدر تضيف عليه النهايات المختلفة. تمام، تعالى let's try another term so you can understand a little bit the concept of this law, that the adjective is a follower and it has to follow the noun. Now let's try the long ligaments. The long ligaments. First of all, we had to worry about the gender. In this case, the gender is noter, so we wrote it in noter form. Now we will have to worry about the gender and the number. So that's why I'm writing it in plural. long ligaments. يا جماعة احنا هنا بقى ايه، هنبص على زي ما تقول كده aspect تاني او الشكل تاني من القانون بتاعنا، ان هي لازم مش بس الادجكتيف يتبع الاسم في الجندر لا او في النوع يعني، لا كمان لازم يتبعوا في العدد سواء كان جمع او مفرد. تمام. فاحنا عندنا already ال dictionary entries. We already extracted the dictionary entries, so we will write them again, no problem. Copy. Let's not write them again, but there is no time. I think we will have to be faster than that. Okay. Long ligaments. So we start with ligaments. Now we already know the stem of the ligaments in Latin, ligament. Sorry. Now we will have to add the ending. What is the ending? We will have to go to the table of endings. Now we are facing another word and we want the plural in the nominative case. So noter, plural, nominative, it's ligamenta. This is our ending. Now let's continue. Ligamenta. Now we understand that ligaments is going to be written as ligamenta from the table of endings. We worked from top to bottom. احنا اشتغلنا من فوق لتحت ولقينا الاندنج بتاعت حالة النوميناتيف هتبقى فكتبنا على الستم لوجامنتا. بعد كده long. طيب long it will be the same thing. We understand that the stem of the adjective longus longalongum is long, and we will have to add the ending, so we will return back to the table of endings. Now we understand that the word we are trying to describe is noter, and it is plural, and it is nominative, so we will find ourselves stuck with the same ending, longa, ligamenta longa. Okay. Then the third variation of our general law, that the adjective must follow the name in a case. If the name is in the genitive case, the adjective must follow it and be in the genitive case. So now we will try three word term. The nerve of. This proposition is very important. It's going to make our life easier. The proposition of. The nerve of the long, I'm sorry, not the nerve of the, maybe the long muscle. Okay, the long muscle. Why not? The nerve of the long muscle. Okay, nerve we will have to get from the dictionary entries PDF that is in the description. You will find the link that will lead you to the endings table and the dictionary entries PDF in the description of this video. Nerve. Okay. Next. Here is the dictionary entry. Control C and Control V. Copy paste كده. بعد كده يا جدعان long. عارفين ان long longus longalongum. Copy paste. وعارفين يا جدعان ان ماسل يعني موسكولوس موسكولي. كوبي بيست. ادي كده يا جدعان الديكشنري انتريز ايه بتاعتنا. الموضوع سهل وبسيط. نرجع نكمل تاني. المهم now after we read the dictionary entries, we are following the rules that we understand. Is that the first word in the Latin sentence is always a noun and it's in the nominative case. So which noun shall we start with? Is the noun nerve or the noun muscle? It's the noun nerve, of course, because in this sentence there is a preposition of, and when there is a preposition of, the first word in the English sentence is also the first word in the Latin sentence, and the second word in the English sentence is also the second word in the English sentence. So the preposition of make it easy to understand which word to write at first. This is why it's an important preposition of. Okay, the nerve. Let's start with the nerve. The nerve must be written in a nominative singular form. So nerve, not nervous. Okay, nervous. Okay, then we don't write the adjective as the second word. We write the noun muscle, because we understand that always the noun comes before the adjective. In Latin, the noun comes before the adjective. So nervus muscul. Now understand that muscul is the stem, but what is the ending? Now we understand that the nouns that come after the first noun are in the genitive form. So muscul must have an ending of the genitive singular form, because muscle here is singular. So musculi, it's written here in the dictionary entry, so I don't have to go back to the ending table. Now long, the same case. We have written the stem and we are going to return back to the ending endings table. Now I need masculine gender of the second declension. I need singular word. Okay, I need a genitive ending. So it will be an ending I. So longi. As you notice, it has the same ending as the noun it's describing it, and this is actually maybe a rule that we are going to write now. لو انتم ملاحظين يا جماعة ان في كل الترمز اللي احنا ترجمناها اللي فيها adjectives، ان الادجكتيف دايما النهاية بتاعته the ending of the adjective النهاية بتاعته is always is the same as the ending of the noun it's describing it. The same ending. Longamenta longa, ligamentum longum, musculi longi. Why is that? Because our law says that the endings of the first type adjectives will be the same as the ending of the first and second declension words. So to be more simple, this is the word written in English. the ending of the first type adjective will be the same as the end. It's a long sentence, it may be confusing. Okay, let's try it to put in another way, another simple way. First, second, equal, first and second. The endings of the first and second declension adjective will be the same as the endings of the first and second declension nouns that this adjective is describing. tada, this is the law. يعني يا جماعة ببساطة النهاية بتاعة الصفات الأول والتاني هتبقى زي النهاية بتاعة تبقى زي النهاية بتاعة الأسامي المجموعة الأولى والتانية اللي الصفات دي بتوصف. أول وتاني زي أول وتاني، موضوع بسيط يعني، دنيا جميلة وبسيطة وسهلة. أول وتاني زيه زي أول وتاني، يعني ده كل القانون الجميل اللي احنا بقالنا ساعة بنوصفه. Okay, طب if we tried to describe a third declension noun with a first and second declension adjective, what will be the result? Are the endings going to be equal? No, it's not going to be equal. It's not going to be equal endings. Of course it will follow it in all in our rule. I said that the first rule is a universal one and there is no exceptions for this rule. I'm going back to the top, so to the rule that I explained. 1 second. Equal, not equal. Okay, now return to the top. This rule is the universal, so it will follow it in case and in gender and in number, but it won't follow it in the ending. It will be different endings, but it's the same rule applies. It will follow it in case and in gender and in number. Nothing crazy. The same. This rule is universal and it applies to when you are trying to like describe a noun by an adjective. This rule is just special for the first and second declension adjectives and nouns. It's just exclusive for that. يعني القاعدة دي قاعدة special للأسامي والadjectives بتاعت الفيرست والسكند declension، دي قاعدة خاصة بيه. لكن دي القاعدة العامة بتاعتنا اللي ما بيخرجش عنها حاجة، قاعدة universal ملهاش أي exceptions، ملهاش أي استثناءات. هي دي القاعدة اللي بنمشي بيها في كل الشغل بتاعنا. تمام كده يا جماعة الخير، احنا خلصنا الفيرست والسكند declension. We finished the first and second declension. Now on to the third, just after a small break. Now let's continue with the third declension. Now as we said أو زي ما قلنا يا جماعة إن third declension ده من أصعب declensions في المنهج زي ما قلنا. third declension يا جماعة ينقسم لثلاثة subtypes أو ثلاثة types، ثلاث أنواع اسمهم consonant type, mixed type و vowel type. consonant والmixed والvowel دولت 3 أنواع مختلفين ممكن ال third declension يتقسم ليه. تمام. As we was saying before we was interrupted قبل ما حاجة تقطع كده، كنا بنقول على third declension إن هو أصعب وأرخم واحد، وإنه بيتقسم ل3 أنواع consonant وmixed وvowel. تمام. طيب أنا أعرف منين الكلمة تبع الكونسوننت ولا تبع الميكسد ولا تبع الفاول؟ أعرف منين هي هنا ولا هنا ولا هنا؟
والله هو الموضوع معقد شوية، بيتطلب ان انت تمشي على خطوات معينة. مجرد ما تعرف هي انهي نوع هتعرف هتمشي على انهي خانة وبس. طب اول حاجة انا جايبينها مثلا يبقى معانا الكلمة ديت جبناها من dictionary entries، جايبينها هنا من الكتاب هذا. تمام، جبناها وعرفنا ان هي نوتر. تمام، ثانية واحدة. abdomen is another word, so we will try to make the word abdomen follow these steps and determine and finally whether this word is mixed consonant or vowel subtype. So let's start. First of all, if it's a noter, then you get suspicious. لو هي كلمة نوتر احنا كلمة abdomen يا جماعة هنمشيها على الخطوات دي عشان نعرف نحدد هي consonant ولا vowel ولا mixed. اول حاجة بما ان الكلمة محايدة، بما ان الكلمة نوتر، فاحنا هنبص عليها يا جماعة زي ما انتوا شايفين كده. يبقى في شك ان الكلمة دي ممكن تكون فاول. هنبص على الحالة النوميناتيف السينجولار، واحنا عارفين يا جماعة من ال first و second declension ان الديكشنري انتريز بتبقى عبارة اول حاجة عن الكلمة في حالة النوميناتيف سينجولار، وبعد كده بيبقى فيه زي ما تقول مجموعة من الحروف ودي نهاية الجينيتيف سينجولار تبقى مسبوقة بشرط، ويبقى بعد كده في ال N أو ال M أو ال F وديت بترمز للجندر، وبعد كده الترجمة بالإنجليزي. ده كده ال dictionary entries. تمام. so dictionary entries let's continue. First, I'm sorry, this word in the nominative singular form does not end with a or al or r in the nominative singular, as you can see it ends with an, so it's not a vowel subtype. So exclude this vowel subtype. It's not vowel. Then after the first step يعني يا جماعة بما ان الكلمة ديت في حالة النوميناتيف singular, as we all know that the first word is in the nominative singular form, and the few letters that comes after it, the letters before then there is a dash. This letter is of genitive singular. Now we look at the nominative singular. It does not end with a or al or ar. It's not a vowel noun subtype. So we get into the next step. هي مش vowel. نخش على الخطوة اللي بعديها، خطوة ايه؟ السيلابلز او المقاطع. نقسم الكلمة المقاطع. نقسم الكلمة على انهي اساس؟ نقسم الكلمة على اساس حالة النوميناتيف وحالة الجينيتيف. ما انا معيش غيرهم. انا معيش ايه غيرهم؟ يعني معايا abdomen. تمام، وابدومينس. abdomen وابدومينس لما نيجي نقارن ما بينهم هتلاقي ان في مقطع زيادة abdomen اس اللي هو الاس. طالما في مقطع زيادة وان هما مش equal syllable، احنا مش هنروح على السهم ده على طول اللي بيودي على الميكس ده على طول، لا احنا هنعمل خطوة تالتة. So guys, we look at syllables. We try to compare between the word in the nominative form and in the genitive form, because we only have these two forms from the dictionary entry. The first one is abdomen, and the second is abdominis. There is an extra syllable which is this extra syllable make the two words non-equal syllabled, and if they are non-equal syllabled we won't go with this arrow that says that it's mixed type. So it's not mixed type yet, we are not sure yet. Then we go in this direction, non-equal syllable. Non-equal syllable, there is a third step. We look at the number of consonants on the end of the stem. How we get the stem in a noun. We said before احنا قلنا قبل كده يا جماعة ان علشان تجيب الستم بتاع اي noun فانت هتجيبه في حالة الجينيتيف. احنا قلنا كده في زي ما تقولوا في الشرح اللي فات. كان المفروض اعملها قبل هنا بس ما علينا. بس هو المفروض حالة الجينيتيف انت بتجيب الاسم في حالة الايه يا جماعة الجينيتيف. So guys you have to get the noun in the genitive case and then you have to cross over the ending. لازم تشطبوا النهاية بتاعت الجينيتيف. طيب ركزوا معايا بقى في النقطة دي يا جماعة. The ending of the genitive case for all the third declension nouns is S. For all the third declension nouns the ending is S. And also for all the adjectives I guess is also S. The ending for the genitive singular case for the third declension for all subtypes is S. So you only have to cross over S. يا جماعة النهايات بتاعت حالة الجينيتيف للثيرد ديكلينشن كله بتنتهي بالاس اس. فانت كل ما عليك انك تكتب الحالة تكتب الاسم من اخر اس وتشطب على الايه الحرفين دول كده انت اللي بقى معاك الستم. Now we are left over with the stem. Now we look at the ending of the stem. Usually at the ending of the stem there is a vowel and either one consonant or group of consonants. يا جماعة دايما غالبا في نهاية الستم بتلاقي في حرف بتلاقي في فاول وبعد كده مجموعة من الكونسونانت او كونسونانت واحد. طب لو هو كونسونانت واحد يا جماعة يبقى ده كده كونسونانت سب تايب، ولو هو اكتر من كونسونانت واحد يبقى هو ميكسد تايب. طب هو في الحالة دي ابدومين الاي بعديها ان والان ده كونسونانت او حرف ثابت واحد فده معناها ان هي كونسونانت سب تايب. Okay guys, so it just ends with one consonant حرف ثابت واحد في النهاية بتاعة الستم اللي احنا لسه جايبينه من حالة الجينيتيف. فبس طالما هي بتنتهي بالستم حرف واحد تبقى ايه consonant. Now there is some nice exceptions we are going to cover in the vowel subtype. If you are crossed with the word pelvis, the word pelvis is a vowel subtype. Although it does not end in SIS in the nominative singular case, but it is considered as a vowel subtype. Then also the two exceptions, matter and hibar. Matter by the general rules should be what? Should be a consonant, a mixed type. Why it should be a mixed type? Because its stem ends with its stem ends with two consonants T and R. الاسم بتاع بينتهي بحرفين بحرفين ثابتين التي والار، فعشان كده هي المفروض اصلا تبقى ميكسد بس احنا ضايفينها زيادة مع الكونسونانت تايب. هيبار should be a vowel subtype. Why should be a vowel subtype? Because at the end of the nominative singular case there is the letter AR, as you can see here, EBAR. Now this it also an exception and it must be in the consonant subtype. So if you see these exceptions while translating, you have to be careful. Then after we have to remind that our word abdomen is a consonant subtype, then we will case change it accordingly. Okay, so we will write the stem as we know it. First of all, it's easier to write the nominative case because you already have it. It's here, abdomen. سهل يا جماعة جدا ان انت تجيب الايه الحالة بتاعت النوماتيف لان هو بيبدأها لك مع الديكشنري انتري فانت هتكتبها زي ما هي يعتبر. وكذلك حالة الجينيتيف برضه بيبقى كاتبها لك في الديكشنري انتري. تمام. احنا اوريدي عارفين يا جماعة ان الستم ابدومين بالاي، ابدومين بالاي، نيجي نزود عليه النهايات. now 1 second until I abdomen now. عشان يا جماعة نملى الجدول لازم نطلع نبص على جدول النهايات، نبص على الكونسونانت تايب، نبص على العمود ده. we have to look at this column start from top to bottom in order to find the endings of abdomen. اوكي، اول حاجة هنبتدي بيها من فوق. عندك يا معلم احنا عارفين ان كلمة abdomen دي نوتر منين؟ من dictionary entry. we know that abdomen is noted from the dictionary entry, so we will follow this column, this smaller column. Okay, we already know that the ending is s in the genitive singular form. Now in the ablative form and the ablative case, I'm sorry, in the ablative case the ending is a. Ending is a, so here we have to put the ending a. Okay, let's put it in black. Okay. Then here we have to follow this column because it's the declension, it's constant type, it's another word, it's plural. we work from top to bottom، هنشتغل من فوق لتحت. third declension ده consonant يا جماعة. بعد كده الكلمة نوتر هنبص في الكولوم ده، بعد كده كلمة جمع فاحنا هنبص لتحت، فهتبقى نهايات وأم وإيبوس. أم إيبوس أم إيبوس تمام. now we have you should be understanding the mechanism that we work with in order to know whether this noun consonant mixed or a vowel. Then after that we just work naturally as we worked with the first and second declension nouns. We work from the top of of our endings table to the bottom and fill the endings in the case change table, and we have case change this term abdomen, and it's really easy. Now we will start with the adjectives. The adjectives is another story. It's third declension adjectives is a little bit harder, but we will cover it of course, but after a break. Okay, maybe there will be concerns and questions that will be in your mind right now concerning the third declension nouns. يعني ممكن دلوقتي يا جماعة يبقى في أسئلة في دماغكم عايزين لها إجابات تبع الثird declension. يمكن كلمة abdomen الخطوات اللي احنا مشينا عليها عشان نعرف إن هي في الآخر consonant. كلمة ديت مش كفاية واحنا المفروض نجيب أمثلة أكتر سيكا، فإحنا يا جماعة جبنا شوية أمثلة زيادة. فمثلا for example يعني كلمة basis، فكلمة basis آخرها SIS وهي كلمة feminine. بما إن هي كلمة feminine وآخرها SIS فدي يا معلم هتبقى على طول vowel من غير ما أفكر. وملحوظة الكلمات المذكرة مفيش منها vowel subtype. So guys, because basis ends with an SIS, it's a vowel noun, and also there is an important note that masculine nouns is not a vowel, cannot be noun, cannot be vowel subtype. And then for example here some of you are wondering now what word could be equal syllabled in both the genitive and the nominative case. For example, the word iris, which means the ear, is iris and iris so it is the same word in both declensions, so it has the same syllables, so it is a mixed subtype, and it will follow this row. And then at the end I have here an example for the word that ends with more than one consonant in the stem like this. Okay guys, I won't continue the third declension adjectives in this video. I think I'm going to make a part 2 because now the video is getting longer and longer, and maybe it will be there will be difficulties in uploading it, and of course it won't encourage you to watch it. يا جماعة أنا دلوقتي بقفل الفيديو عشان هيبقى طويل أوي، هيبقى في مشاكل أكيد في التحميل بتاعه، وفي نفس الوقت مش هيبقى مشجع إن انتوا تتفرجوا على فيديو مثلا ساعتين ولا حاجة عشان تفهموا ده تاني. سلام. Goodbye.